Welcome to part two of the Omega Supreme Transformers review. We're in the middle of transforming the figure. This wound up being much bigger than I thought it would be, so I had to divide this into two parts to make sure that it was cohesive. Hopefully you're still watching this. Let's get down to it. When you've got the transformation happening, the last thing that you want to do for the chest section is make sure that you've got the turret flipped over, make sure you got the head back, flip this up here, flip this down, click it in, and then bring the head back just a little bit. And on each side, you're going to have the guns flexed over, and then they're going to fold down into a little tab here with a hole. You can see it over here. Just a nice little click in place. And the head itself is going to lift. Just get your fingers underneath there and flip the little turret that's in the back of his head up. Now, what you got to do is just insert that directly into the chest cavity and just push until it clicks. There we go. Flip this up, flip these down unless you want to pose him with his rockets showing. And then on the back side, we've got this thing that we have to take care of. You got to leave it loose until you add the wings. And the wings have little tabs here at the top. And each one of them slides into, let's see if I can show you this, tracks on the back that have clips that hold it in place. So your goal is to get it in between the backpack, slid in, and then clicked in place. It's not a hard click. You didn't even hear it happening. But once we've got that taken care of, then we can take this, and I generally try to hold it on both sides, lift it up, and then there's a tab here at the bottom that it's going to click into. So each one of those for each one of the two booster packs. And that's it. He's basically transformed up together, and he is a behemoth. Oh, one last thing. He's got a little support plate here. When you've got him in base mode, it flips out to provide support. Flip it back in when he's in robot mode. He's got rocker ankles, which none of the other giant figures have had up to this point. I think we're going to be getting some with Scorponok, but I haven't seen the figure in full yet, so we'll find out later. But it's just mammoth. I mean, this thing, it has so much more heft than Trypticon felt like it did. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong, because I mean, this guy's not nearly as broad or as tall as Trypticon or Fortress Maximus. Generally, I will say that he is much more solidly built. Oftentimes, I'll pick him up by his head, just to move him around, because there's no section of this that I can get one hand on and easily move him around that I feel like I'm not about to chuck him out a window. But from here, his little buddy has a tiny little tab on him, and he can be placed on his shoulders, or any other weaponizers, any other figures that you've got. They got 5mm ports that allow you to post them up on that kind of stuff. I know there's plenty of options to have that done, but considering that this is the figure that came with him and that's his little buddy, that's the one he's going to get. The head has the capability to look down. It doesn't really look up, but it does have quite a bit of swivel. You've got missile packs on both sides. And then just all in all, I mean, the figure itself has an enormous amount of articulation. This is something that you'd see in a much smaller figure, but somehow they packed it all in. I know I saw some complaints from other people about how small his waist is, but all in all, I mean, it doesn't really bother me. Like, the whole aesthetic of this figure, you can see that I'm holding it with one hand quite easily. And the aesthetic of it is just, there is an incredible amount of play value here, no matter how you want to display him, whether you want to play with him, whether you want to pose him. If you check out my Jetfire review of Siege Jetfire, I've got him posed up so that he's holding Jetfire in the air in a ballet pose, and it's hilarious. But how am I going to pose this guy? He's probably going to wind up doing some breakdancing or something. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I love this figure. I cannot recommend getting it enough. I bought it off of Big Bad Toy Store, and they marked it up from whatever was on Hasbro Pulse. And it kind of disgusts me when a figure like this that got released during the pandemic isn't available for distribution from the people who actually put it out and it is immediately available of the month of launch from secondary toy stores, and I'm just seeing them all marked up. Like, I paid $20 extra for this, and that's probably my biggest problem with it from Hasbro, is that I've been looking at Hasbro Pulse. Everything is sold out that I possibly want to get for myself. I lost my job because of the COVID pandemic. My wife lost her job because of the COVID pandemic. And I know a lot of you guys lost your jobs because of the COVID pandemic. But yet these releases are still coming out over and over and over again. So if you want the Seacons, if you want the special edition Seacons, too fucking bad. There's just no way you're going to be able to get them without going to secondhand stores. If you wanted to pay less than $700 for the Seacons that just came out, also too bad, because you just didn't happen to be one of the people who had $180 to drop on the thing the first day it came out, and it sold out within hours. So why is that an issue? There's a huge distribution problem. I mean, there were many figures from Titans Return that I never even saw in my local stores. Toys R Us was being shut down by Bain Capital, those assholes who also fucking ruined, what was it? KB Toys back in the day. You know, they just wanted to tank that business so they could, you know, make themselves more wealthy. If you don't know the story behind Bain Capital, you need to go look up what happened to Toys R Us, because it's actually really, really damaging to the action figure collector community. And they've had their eyes set on places like that that are cash heavy but finance poor. Toy stores get targeted by that stuff a lot, and it's difficult. But with these guys, is it worth paying the extra 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks that you're going to see on eBay or those other places in order to get your hands on it to make sure that it gets delivered to you? I would say that yes, it is for this one, but I would say be careful of that kind of stuff, because we don't want to incentivize the market to go that route. It's not Hasbro's problem if secondhand distributors buy up all their stock. They sold out of their stock. They don't care. They don't have to care. If they do, though, it shouldn't be considered a basket of roses given to us that they just took care of the problem that they potentially created in the first place. Now, I've seen that they've tried to lock down a few things for making sure that people can only order one or two of an object at a time, but that still doesn't explain how they're selling out of things so quickly. And with things like these figures, it would only make sense that producing them in waves would help expedite that problem, or a sign-up list that would let you know that there's new ones available. Because if you have a back order of 50, 60, 70 people, sure, that's not really incentive to go with another production of one more series of this figure. But if it's something like, you know, the big guy Unicron, I want that figure. I don't want to pay $1,700 on eBay to get it. Sorry, but if it came out at $575, I would like to save up for a year and then be able to buy that thing. I don't want to have to spend over $1,000 saving up for 3 to 4 years at a time in order to be able to get it. I just don't have that kind of money. Now, I've got a huge Transformers collection that I've put together for years, and I'm really glad to be adding this to it. And just wrapping up this review of him, I cannot tell you how much I love this figure. I cannot tell you how much joy it's already brought me, being just so lumbering and just ridiculous. And I love posing him. I love setting him up next to my Fortress Maximus and Trypticon. Those two combined with this thing in their city modes make it a whole play landscape, and it's awesome. Just love picking that stuff up, transforming it, changing it up, setting up different figures around him. And I guarantee if you end up getting this guy and putting all your other Siege and Earthrise and Titans Return figures on him, get him around some Combiner Wars combiners, it definitely fits the scale and will make it look like a good playset. So definitely recommend picking him up. But just keep your eye out for deals. You know, if you get a chance to pick one up cheap, take it. Anyway, hope you guys had a great time watching this, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you can. I'd really appreciate it. Catch you guys later.